I woke up in a great mood this morning, and then had my parade rained on, which is always a great thing, you know. Because then my ego steps in and is like, my whole life has been a pile of shit. Do you think I could just be happy for like, I don't know, a couple months at a time? But that's just me trying to defend my right to feel anything other than depressed and need to do several huge rails in order to get out of bed. And I really don't want to be back in this place again where I am currently, which is just is such a huge polarity shift from where I was a mere hour ago. And that, I think, is the difficulty in being the advocate for your own well-being, because it's so hard not to hear what other people are saying to you and let that cloud your judgment. But also, you don't want to be a deluded fucking freakazoid either. So you know, on some level, have to accept some of the words that you hear coming in and move forward from there without letting it totally fuck your shit up. And since right now I'm in such a precarious, weird little position of having to rely on others for work in order to make the tiny amount of money that will feed me, because I don't have any more food stamps left, and Sadie, and put fuel in the tank, etc., etc. I think the same thing everyone is going through right now. Like, I do have to deal with other people, which is really rather unfortunate, because if I could just make money fall out of the sky, I would. But I could just be happy in my happy little world and not let, the outside world come and shit all over me, make me feel like a piece of shit, and then give me like $2 for being a piece of shit. Say, here you go, piece of shit, you can have these $2. Which will get me really literally nowhere. Still, 2 is more than 0, so that's good. However, what I really wanted to say is that I think the reason I can't tell you the ghosty ghost story about John is because that was such a transformative experience with a person who's no longer on this planet, because I did actually eventually cross him over after reading 1,500 online obituaries from 1921 and found his, and I was like, oh, no wonder, no wonder you felt so betrayed by someone who said they loved you and then threw you under a bus and then left you to rot in prison after you murdered her husband because she convinced you she was getting beaten by him, when in fact she just fucking told you a bunch of lies so that you would murder her husband and she would be free to go run off with someone else while you rotted in prison. I understand that kind of betrayal, person I'm trying to talk about, who's no longer on this plane, thank fuck, because he kept, and in his effort to communicate with people, he kept just depressing people and making them want to hang themselves, and, because he was so depressed, and I get it. I was calling him an asshole a lot of times when he was wandering around my house. I was like, what the fuck, asshole? I'm just trying to live my life. What the fuck? Why won't you fucking leave me alone? And then when I did discover his actual story, I felt so bad. I was like, oh man, that's fucking awful. I couldn't imagine the feeling of stabbing someone to death and then finding out that person was totally innocent later, and that somebody just totally fucking wrapped you around their finger in order to get you to do something. And that's the kind of feeling I'm having right now, is being led with my open heart into a situation where the love is not returning. It's not reciprocal. It's just manipulation. And the problem with telling you a story about John, the ghost, who was part of my whole opening up into that world, who I am extremely grateful towards, the act of manipulation also, and the fact that I'm identifying with it, is really dangerous. It's dangerous to make my personality be a part of his identity and his feeling of betrayal. And the more I identify with that story of having communicated with somebody that had been dead for over 100 years in my house, um, is, I'm attaching too much of my own identity to that instead of just, releasing him as he has been released. And so I really don't want to be calling him back, as it were, as I've just been doing just now. So, because it's only feeding my ego, and it's only making me want to flail about wildly, going, what the fuck, you know. So it's not all unicorns and rainbows, lollipops and hand grenades. Well, maybe it is all lollipops and hand grenades. And unicorns and rainbows shitting out their butts. I'm really good at light polarizing, by the way. This is what they call light polarizing. When you're in a really shitty situation and you just decide to laugh at it all, that's called light polarization. It's also called coping with a bunch of fucking shit. But, I just want to feel good about myself. I don't see why the world has such a problem with me feeling good about myself. I don't get it. Like, what is there for other people to gain by making me feel like shit about myself again? Like, haven't I done that enough? Like, I already know where that goes. I already know that all that does is produce a big fucking cloud of shit for more shit to come feed off that shit, and then just make me feel even shittier, and then more shit becomes more shit, and then it just gets to be such a big pile of shit. And I just spent the last 10 years dislodging that mountain of shit, so I don't really see why certain people who are in a position to try and lord their fucking shit over me, since they've known me since the day I was born and conceived of me in the first place, shat me out into the world to just give me shit. I don't really understand what they could possibly get out of, like, trying to bring me down a peg. Just try to bring her down a peg, bring you down a peg. Blah, blah, blah. Like, what's the fucking purpose of that? I guess some people get off on that. It makes them feel better to make other people feel like shit. But I just find that really sad because it doesn't actually make you feel better, does it? I don't know. Does it? I don't think I've ever felt better by making somebody else feel like shit. I can't recall a time where I was ever like, hey, if I make this person feel like a piece of shit, I'm going to feel great for making them feel like a piece of shit. Like, no, I can't really see where that's coming from. I mean, I'm trying to understand what that must be like. Just to see things from my parents' point of view. But I can't, like, as much as I try, I can't seem to understand it. Like, and it just feels like a mirror that is unbreakable. It's like constantly reflecting into my fucking life at every fucking moment. And I'm so sick of it. So I keep trying to break the mirror and stop those patterns. And those moments like yesterday where I felt fucking awesome, not on drugs, and just happy to be alive, and not feeling 50 years old. Today I feel 50 years old. Can you tell the difference? Can you physically see the difference how I feel 50 years old today? Do I look like I feel 50 years old? Whereas yesterday I felt like I was fucking 20 again, and I felt like physically 20, and now I feel 50. Because of the shit that has just been thrown into my fucking world and made me lay in bed when I should be working and making money to pay for my registration so that I don't lose my house truck. And instead I'm just laying here overwhelmed and in the shit. Overwhelmed with the shit. And not getting out of bed. Going, well, I'd get out of bed if I had a giant rail in my face right now, but I have a giant rail in my face. So instead I turned Instagram to just vent. and hope that maybe this will boost my dopamine enough to get out of bed and go to work and make the money that I need to make in order to get out of this giant fucking financial hole that I'm in. You think? I don't know. But is this also becoming a new addiction? Is this my new dependency? Staring at my phone and talking to myself? Maybe. I don't know. It's, I mean, of all the addictions that I've had in life, this might be like maybe it's not so bad. It's just like having those attachments that make you feel better. You still have to release those, just like I still have to release the fact that this is like it's doing nothing except feeding my own ego, which is it's dangerous. So I'm gonna have to probably go quiet for a while. As much as I enjoy talking woo woo shit to a screen, you know, and hoping people are listening and getting something out of it and being inspired to do more woo woo weird witchy things for themselves as well and make their lives more magical, because we need more magic in our lives. And less narcissistic motherfuckers throwing shit on us, making us feel like shit about ourselves just because they don't like us feeling good about ourselves. That'd be great. That'd be great. That'd be great if that could happen. But, it's also somewhat important for us not to delude ourselves and think that we're looking at a situation just because our hearts are filled with love, that we're looking at a situation that loves us back. Like this phone, for example. This is a free phone, but normally I'd be paying money to do this. It's just like, like all this awesome shaman school thing I'm in right now. I have to pay money to go there. I have to pay money to be a part of that collection of people, which is fucking rad as fuck, and worldwide, which is even better. But I do have to pay money to do that. It's not like it's just there for free, So, and the charges keep going to my account, pinging more overdraft fees, pinging another overdraft fee, pinging another overdraft fee. Oh, look, there's another overdraft fee. It's just like my art school education that I had to take all these loans out for that got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I signed the loan agreement back in the Clinton years, and it said in the small print, it said if after 25 years you are still making minimum wage and have not done anything and have not succeeded at your fascinating art career, then we will forgive your student loan and you won't have to pay it back. And so that's why I signed the loan agreement, to get that $100,000 education in art. And now that, after post, 4 or 5 different financial crises, the new people who own those loans are now saying, oh no, that doesn't apply here because that was just whoever you signed it with. That company is no longer in existence. So what was the fucking point, so they're like, oh, we're not going to honor that. Well, I will fuck you then. Well, fuck you. I'm not going to honor you either. Like, what the fuck? It's just money, but it's it's the bane of my existence, I have enough for today. That's all that really matters. If I have to, close on my bank accounts, be another fucking huge amount in debt, because I still owe shitloads of money for my school. Yeah, 25 years. Am I still making minimum wage? No, I'm actually making a little bit more than minimum wage when I work. When I can get out of bed and go to work, which is harder to do on days like this when I don't have any drugs and I don't have any motivation to get out of bed and go do work, because I fucking hate the world right now. Because it's just a fucking circling, repeating fucking, it's not that bad. It really isn't, but at this moment it feels like that. So, priorities. Priority is go get a fucking job, go to work, right? Make money, pay my registration. That's my priority. And my shaman school tuition. Those are my priorities. Because I need a house. And this is my house, and I love my house. Priority number 1, keep a house. I'm coping with this right now as we speak. Hope you don't mind me coping to my phone. You don't have to watch this if you don't want to. It's okay with me. I'm just right now. I'm just doing this for my own therapy. You don't mind, right? Um. Oh my God. Priority number 2. Release the ghosts. Don't identify with them, and keep them as part of your personality. Let your ego um, attempt to make that think you're, you know, I don't know. It's just ego based. Yes, we all need something to feel good about, and right now that's been making me feel really good because it does make me feel good. But I also don't want to be trapped by it, you know. Just like I didn't want to be trapped by being a drug addict for 30 years and ended up trapped as a drug addict for so many years. And this, it's been so hard to get out of that hole. The last thing I want to do is go jump in another hole that's going to trap me. And it seems like most things are a trap, really, Philosophically, you start thinking about it, you're like, oh. It's like when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're first like you're so in love with them at first, and then after a while the love kind of fades and they cheat on you a few times or whatever, you have a few disagreements or whatever, and then you're in the relationship and you want to get out of the relationship because it's just draining, and it's no longer, you're not growing in the same direction as people or whatever. I mean, I haven't had a whole shitload of long-term relationships. Most of them have been very codependent and non-functioning. But the ones that I could maybe call somewhat, at least healthier than most, then at least they weren't punching me in the face or kicking me in the stomach or leaving me for dead in the hospital. Um, the ones that weren't like that, I mean, there was sort of a, a draining away. It's like the love was so great, and then it just slowly just drained away. And there was one relationship where the love actually returned, and I was like, "Oh, this is rad! I've never felt this like returning of the love that we used to have," and that was cool. But then it just drained away again, and then it was over. He cheated on me enough times, and I was fine with that because I just didn't have any real feelings for him anymore, which is why he was seeking love from somewhere else. I was fine with that because I had too much resentment to ever love him again. It's like the resentment pile had built up too high. And I knew I couldn't have. I knew, like, if that relationship had continued, I couldn't have kids with him. I just knew. And I didn't really want to have kids anyway. But if that ever happened with him, since, we were fucking, if I ever did get pregnant with his children, I knew I couldn't have his kids. I just knew. Because then, I don't know, I just got a really weird feeling. I just got such an incredible, like, it was like it was like a bell tolling in my head that said, do not have children with this man because he will do things to them that were done to you. And then I'd have to murder him. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to murder you for fucking my kids. So I'm just gonna like let the love dissipate here, and we're just gonna end this in a sort of normal way where you just go and cheat on me with somebody else and then marry that person, and that's what happened. It was great. And his new girlfriend was also a victim of sexual abuse and trauma at an early age, except her mom backed her up when the trauma was discovered, or the sexual abuse was discovered from her dad. And he called me up a few years later and was like, that makes all the difference in her. That's the reason she's a functioning human being and you're not. It's because your mom never backed you up. It's because your mom threw you under the bus and said it was all your fault. And was jealous of the attention that you were getting from her husband. Why am I going here? Because I'm in a shitty place right now. I just wanted you guys to see a little bit of it's not all roses. It's it's not all roses and daffodils up in here. You know, sometimes it gets pretty ugly, and this is part of life, right? This part right here is a necessary part of life, where you realize the repeating, mirroring patterns of people like not loving you, overtly not loving you, and you letting yourself convince yourself that they love you just because your heart is open and you feel love. It doesn't mean they love you back. And it's so ugly. It's just so cold and ugly. So just now I was getting this impression of that unbreakable mirroring pattern. The mirror just became a tombstone where I was just like, this mirror is never going to break. So I just have to walk away from it. I literally have to turn around, stop looking at that mirror, and fucking walk away and just let it be dead. And also stop feeding my ego with identifying with these experiences that I'm having, like spiritually or whatever, because the point is to release, not to hold on. It just sucks. It just fucking sucks, dude. Because you go through your whole life looking for the reflections from others that you can see in them, you know, and then and then it all turns out to just be bullshit, you know. It's just really sad. So, I mean, and then I have to just go internal again and then be like, my only source of feeling good about life is going to come from myself. And sometimes that gets really lonely, you know. It's like, well, what the fuck, dude? It sure would be nice if I could feel it from outside sometimes and be able to trust it, right? Because when it does come in and then it fucking convinces you that it's a human being and it's not gonna fuck you over, and then it fucks you over, it's just really disappointing. Because I don't need any more disappointments in life. I really don't. I'm done with being disappointed. I'm so bored with it. It just, why am I crying live right now? I don't know. Just because the world is really fucked up right now. And it's hard enough, you know, living in Ukraine right now. It's hard enough being a pregnant woman right now. It's hard enough being a Canadian Indigenous and discovering all of your ancestors are in the ground below you with unmarked graves. And, you know, all shit. You know, then you just get super overwhelmed like I am right now by this wave of shit. And, oh my god. Actually, you know, when Sadie was missing for those 2 weeks, I think I have never cried as much as I did when Sadie was gone. And the pain became so big that I was reading in that book, When Things Fall Apart, one of the things that you can do when you're in a lot of grief or in a lot of pain is to like just sit with it, just stay with it, don't push it away, don't try to turn it into a joke, just sit with it and let yourself feel it and notice how tender it is, because it is pretty tender. And then it starts to like link up with all the other people's pain all over the world, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and almost gets to be such a huge pain, so big that it becomes like beautiful in a weird way. It's like watching an atom bomb go off. Like it's destructive, but it's so beautiful, and you just kind of sit there looking at it and mesmerized by the pain. But yeah, it's, you know, there's a dark side. Here's the dark side. It's right here. It's huge, and it's magnificent, just like the light side is. And, you know, I just want to y'all. See, I did live in Alabama for a few years, I'm telling you. I don't come from there, dipshit. I don't come from anywhere. I had to fucking move every 2 years of my life. So no place is really my home. That's why I identify. The other day when we were at shaman school, we had to like call in all our ancestors on the land that we're from, and I was like, I'm calling in all the ancestors of the wanderers worldwide. That's like, because we're the wanderers, you know what I mean? We're the people who are always traveling. Oh, I found another I'm just gonna keep going on and on. I found another past life too as a Romanian woman. Found her name. I was like, oh, that's a weird name. Those 4 letters together. And I looked it up, and it's actually a woman's name from Romania. So no wonder I live in a gypsy little witch house. Gypsy is a pejorative term, actually. You know, it's not a very nice thing to say. Although we don't have any connection to it in America as being a negative term, it is actually a negative term, and I'm sorry, Romanians, that I just used that term. But I don't have any. But I know you do, but I didn't know, so now I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the pain gets to be so big, it is literally like watching a bomb go off. So yeah, but it wasn't when Sadie was gone, and I was just crying and crying and crying and noticing how big the pain was, and then feeling the pain of every single mother who's ever lost her child to like abduction, because you know when she was gone, like every single white garbage bag that blew by in the wind I thought was Sadie. Like I was losing my mind with loss, and that's why I'm so happy she's still here with me. See, she's over there. She's smiling. Yes. She's going, when is mommy gonna quit freaking out about all this fucking shit that she's talking about to this black thing in her hand and take me out to go take a piss? Because I gotta go pee and I wanna go smell some plants and shit. See, that's why she's so grounding for me. She's got me through Ghost Ship. She got me through everything. That's why I love her so much, because she's always there for me when I'm doing this. You know, she brings me back down to earth, and that's great. That's why I love Sadie so much. And that's why anyone loves their pets, because they're so grounding. And we need that sometimes, because people are like snake pits. You know, sometimes they're just so. I just don't understand them. I don't understand their. I don't understand their motivations for shit. I mean, I could be a little bit autistic or something. And that's why I think it's really important that I learn how to read auras and woo witchy shit like that, because mentally and emotionally it's so hard for me to understand where people are coming from when they're, you know, fucking with you like that emotionally just for fun. Getting off on making you feel like shit. I don't get it. I don't think I want to get it. Maybe I don't want to understand that. Maybe I just want to, you know. I mean, I hate to be one of those people that puts my head in the sand and just like I'm just gonna ignore that. I mean, it's hard for me to do that because I've been ignored so many times that I really dislike the idea of just ignoring shit and glossing it over. And light polarizing is what that is. I mean, I don't know. I'm in a really weird place right now. I'm in one of those weird little liminal spaces, you know, where I'm like in between here and there, and I'm just like going, what the fuck am I gonna do next? I'm a little bit stressed out, a little bit freaked out, a little bit over happy, a little bit over sad. uh, Not on anything, you know, so can't blame it on that. But yeah, I think maybe let's go focus on really regular things today. Do what we have to do. Um, but you know, try not to lose my sense of um, well-being, because I'm okay right now. It was just a storm that was sent to me by people that don't love me. So, you know, oh look, it just passed. It literally is like a storm. See, that's what emotions are like. They're like storms.
It just stopped raining. It's so weird. So yeah, I think uh if I do keep talking to my phone like this on a regular basis, I think I might have to deactivate this account um and become a different name or something, because I don't want them to have any access to me anymore. Like, even subconsciously. It's never gonna get better. Just have to accept that my relationship with my parents is never gonna get better. Like, it doesn't seem to matter how much I heal myself, they still are the same people who don't love me. So I just gotta turn around, walk away from the mirrory tombstone that is that death, and accept it. Walking away, walk, 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 walking away, walking away, walking away, walking away. Goodbye.